Good evening. I'm Spot On Weather meteorologist Matthew Euler, and tonight I'm going to provide you with a quick winter storm update on the upcoming winter storm for Southeast Virginia. All right, so let's get right into what we're looking at here. First of all, I'm going to start off with the surface chart, valid 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, early Thursday morning, overnight Wednesday night. We have an area of low pressure that is rapidly intensifying off the coast, just off the coast of North Carolina at this time, with a lot of wraparound moisture around the system. These solid lines here indicate areas of equal barometric pressure known as isobars, and the closer they are together, the more tightly packed they are, the stronger the wind and the more intense the system is. This track is very key, as I've mentioned in previous videos about winter weather in Hampton Roads area. This track is shifted significantly further westward towards the mid-Atlantic coast over the last 12 to 24 hours. What this means for us is it could result in a higher snow amount and much stronger winds ultimately. So what we expect to happen is snow will begin late Wednesday afternoon. The clouds will be on the increase tomorrow morning. Starting tomorrow morning, you'll start seeing some clouds start to increase into Southeast Virginia, out ahead of this system as it comes up the coast, the East Coast. Now, the precip may be initially mixed with rain and sleet at the onset or the beginning. Cold air will be ultimately dragged down from aloft once the precip really starts falling and gets going, which will basically allow the surface temperatures to start falling as well. And then we expect a changeover to all snow Wednesday evening. Now, the snow may be moderate to heavy at times. This is a very dynamic weather system, very intense as I just mentioned, and again, it's very close to the coast. This system is going to be what is known as bombing out. When we talk about a meteorological bomb, we talk about a system that is deepening at 1 millibar drop per hour for a 24-hour period. Well, this system is going to be quite the intense storm, similar to a hurricane in the summertime. Moving ahead now, forecast valid Thursday the 4th of January. This is Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This system has really got its act together, folks. It is wound up and it is really producing some heavier snow bands. We expect heavier snow bands to rotate into the Hampton Roads area of Southeast Virginia and across northeast North Carolina. At this time, you have these blue dashed lines indicate thickness values. They start to crash. Circulation is counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere around low pressure systems. As a result, we expect more of a strong north-northwest wind, falling temperatures, Arctic air starting to plunge in behind this very strong system. All right, and that's very important when you get Arctic air entrained into any storm system, because what that does is you can get more snow out of an atmosphere that is colder. Basically, as the temperatures fall, you can crank out more moisture. You get higher snow-to-water ratios. The normal snow-to-water ratio is 10 inches of snow. It usually equals 1 inch of liquid rain. So this is a really big concern. We're expecting the heaviest period of snow overnight, Wednesday night and early Thursday morning from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And during this time period, we may see 1 to 2 inches of snow per hour during this heaviest snow period. We also are expecting, with the system being closer to the coast and the gradient being much stronger, pressure gradient, these lines, isobars as I mentioned, these lines of equal barometric pressure much closer together, that indicates very strong winds. We expect winds to be very gusty, 25 to 35 miles per hour with gusts as high as 45 miles per hour on Thursday morning. And this will produce wind chills as low as the single digits. So we could, in association with that wind, have possible blizzard-like conditions Thursday morning. The snow will end around 10 a.m. Eastern Time as the storm begins to pull away from the Hampton Roads area. Now, I wanted to show you these soundings again, courtesy of Tropical Tidbits forecast soundings. The one on the left here is for 1 a.m. Eastern Time on 4 January, early morning, and then the other one is for a little bit later in the morning at 7 a.m. What I'm trying to show you here again is that whenever this red line, follow the red line here, that's your temperature line, forecasted temperature. The 0 Celsius line is your freezing line, this dashed line that goes up like this. All right, there it is, 0 Celsius. Whenever your red temperature line is to the left, you notice how temperatures get colder over here on the left? That red line remains well to the left or below the 0 Celsius line, the freezing point in both soundings. We do have a little bit of warming between basically 2,000 and 5,000 feet at 1 a.m. Eastern time, but you'll notice it's still below the freezing line. So we don't have a very strong elevated warm layer or a warmer area aloft coming in to keep it rain very long. So I just wanted to really focus in on these soundings. This is an important tool that meteorologists use in determining rain versus snow in systems, very strong systems like the one coming up the coast. Here's the winter storm final thoughts. There's a winter storm watch in effect from the National Weather Service from the Wakefield office from 1 p.m. Eastern Time Wednesday, 3 January, tomorrow afternoon, until 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, the 4th of January. Now, all weather models show a much closer westward shift today towards the mid-Atlantic coast, resulting in heavier precipitation and much stronger winds for Southeast Virginia. Expect a tight snow gradient. In other words, there'll be large snowfall variations over relatively short distances from Virginia Beach northwestward. Right now, it looks like the heaviest snow will be closer to the coast, closer to the stronger dynamics of the system, but do not be surprised if there are narrow corridors of very significant snowfall accumulations in the area, where you might drive through one area, one city in Hampton Roads, and maybe they have 6 to 7 inches, and another city might have locally up to 10 inches of snow, and it could be over a very short distance. That's what happens in these dynamic systems, these coastal lows. Happens quite frequently. The one system in 2010, which produced 12 to 15 inches across Hampton Roads, I can remember driving out in Wakefield coming in from the west to return to Virginia Beach, and there was no snow on the ground in Wakefield. We did not see snow on the ground until we got to around basically Suffolk area, and then it got higher and higher on the ground, the snow mounts, as we got closer to the beach. So these systems are known to be classic in great snowfall gradients, tight snowfall gradients. Now, snowfall with impacts on roads is expected starting Wednesday evening, tomorrow evening, 3 January, through Thursday morning, 4 January. The total snowfall accumulations are expected to be 4 to 8 inches right now, generally across the Hampton Roads area. Now, we could see locally higher amounts, up to 10 inches in some spots. The final amount, and I mentioned this last night in the video, the final amount will be dependent on the initial period of the rain, snow, sleet mix right at the beginning, along with ultimate track of the coastal low. Mesoscale effects such as banding and instability can result in much higher amounts over short time periods. The ocean's effect on the local environment is quite interesting. The moisture from the ocean can just add to the overall dynamics of the storm and produce heavy, narrow stripes of snow bands. Snow will remain on secondary roads through at least Saturday, making conditions very slippery. Temperatures are not expected to rise above freezing, 32 degrees, to readily melt the snow until Sunday, 7 January. Something to keep in mind. And then we have a reinforcing shot of Arctic air Thursday, the 4th of January through Saturday, the 6th of January. High temperatures are only expected to be in the 20s overall, with low temperatures dropping into the teens, the low teens at night. With a snowpack, those temperatures at night will drop fairly rapidly as snow radiates. It doesn't allow the ground to heat up as much during the day. It tends to radiate shortwave incoming solar radiation. It reflects it. Wind chill values are going to be dangerously low into the single digits on both Friday and Saturday mornings. Those are going to be the coldest mornings of the period. So bundle up out there. It's going to be another cold 5 days. And now we're going to have a very impactful winter storm for Southeast Virginia. I would expect the winter storm watch to become a winter storm warning by tomorrow morning, or possibly overnight tonight, by the National Weather Service in Wakefield. Again, all weather models showing a much closer shift towards the mid-Atlantic coast. Yesterday, the models were showing more of offshore type track of the storm system, but now it's much closer. And again, that's going to result in heavier precipitation coming into the Hampton Roads area now. All right, that wraps things up tonight on the winter storm update. Stay safe out there, folks. Have a great evening. Remember, if we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. Have a great evening, everyone.